Sugar Bert Boxing we're grassroots of amateur boxing. We're all trying to do our part to help build Olympic gold medals. We decided over 10 years ago, people saying, hey, let's do this in our city, do this in our city. My wife and I sat down and with the support of her and my team, we've gone from there to now. We've been everywhere. We've been in all different cities strategically. Boxers that can't travel to a big tournament get an opportunity now to travel for a tournament our size.
We love it, not just the promotional aspect and the PR aspect. It has tremendous economic aspect with the number of hotel rooms, families coming in, number of coaches and trainers. Another big piece, I believe the first one in the country, is your apps.
Gives boxers who participate in all the tournaments an opportunity to learning and fine-tuning their skills, platform, and a voice to be able to actually tell their story.
For how many times now, Bert?
I think this is the second.
Second
or third.
Yeah,
Second or
I
third.
bet it's got to be the
three.
third. Yeah,
Maybe three now.
We have Bert Wells, who is the CEO and founder of Sugar Bert Boxing, and we also have Corey Martin, who is the COO. So I don't think, Corey, you've been on our show before.
I have not. It's my first time.
So we're excited to have you, and it's always a pleasure having Sugar Bert back. So just quickly, I know if you've listened to the show before or seen the show, Pete, you've told how you got your name, but let's go ahead and do it again because I think that's a very cool story.
Well, originally from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and started my boxing career down there. And I had an opportunity as a young 11, 12-year-old to get to go to the original Fifth Street Gym in Miami, which at the time, Chris and Angelo Dundee ran Fifth Street Gym. And so I was down there, would go down there every other day and train and meet with the guys and talk to them and all that kind of stuff. And so I got a chance when they brought in Sugar Ray Leonard, who was coming in for his training camp, and he brought it down to Miami, and I had a chance to go into camp with him and kind of train, not necessarily along beside him, but in the same Fifth Street Gym as he was training, getting ready for his fight, and got a chance to talk to him, meet him, and that was one of my, of course, all-time favorite fighters at the time, and learned a lot of different things and steps of how he trained at a very high level, and that's how I got my name. I mimicked his style, and people started calling me Sugar Bert, and hence that's where I got my name from.
And you were how old again?
I was about between 11 and 13 years old.
Wow.
I mean, when I first met him, because I saw him a couple times at Fifth Street Gym, but I was probably about anywhere between that 11, 13 area time.
So back it up even further. So you got your boxing style from Sugar Ray and became Sugar Bert. Mm-hmm. What got you interested in boxing younger than 11 then?
Well, when I started boxing, it was just me at the park, and we had a basketball goal that was right next to our house, but it was right in a apartment complex. And so a lot of my friends hung out over there. We'd go play basketball, and so I was over there playing basketball, and one of the guys, friends of mine, was Tony, and he was had a backpack or bag on his shoulder, and he was going to the gym. And I said, "Where you going, man?" He's like, "I'm going to the boxing gym." I said, "Where at?" He said, "Lauderhill." I said, "Where? Lauderhill Recreation?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to Lauderhill Recreation." I said, "Man, you can't fight." He's like, "I beat you." And so, the challenge, of course. And so I said, "Okay, let me run home and ask my mom, could I go down to the Lauderhill Recreation Center?" And she said, "Yeah, you can go, and as long as you be back before sundown." And I went down. I ran down to it's probably about a 15, 20-minute run, a couple miles down the street. Ran down to the rec center, and Dixon was there. That was the coach at the time. I met him, introduced myself, said, "Hey, Tony and I were talking, and I want to box. I want to fight Tony." And he was like, asked me my name, all that, and I said, "Yeah." And we were good friends. And he said, "You don't want to fight Tony?" I said, "Yeah, I want to fight. I want to get in the ring and fight Tony." And he was like, "Well, it's called sparring." And so I said, "Okay, I want to spar Tony." And so he said, "Okay," got me to agree to it, and Tony agreed to it, and I got in the ring and got my butt whipped, and I was at the gym every day ever since.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Ever since. That's how I fell in love with boxing. It took a beating for me to fall in love with boxing.
How about you, Corey?
Oh, My story is completely different. I would say I was just a fan of boxing.
Okay.
And started just working out, working with Bert and training at the gym. And I think that kind of blossomed into just our relationship, um, kind of superseding and us going into other things that we decided to do together. But mine was more for health reasons.
Okay.
And so because of that, it made me, kind of just really get into focusing on my body and making sure that I was healthy for the long run. And I started just working out, being consistent, um, and just following up, listening to this guy as he, gives you certain things to do. You might not want to do them, but you do them because in the long run, you're here to talk about it. And so that was kind of where I came into the picture. But I've just been a boxing fan for years. A fan of his is too for years. Even after he, past his prime, I was able to watch him, do a few fights and supporting him back then. So yeah, our relationship has just blossomed from there.
What's a good tie-in? Corey, started for health reasons.
Yeah.
It didn't start that way with Evan Holyfield,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't start that way with the documentary that we're doing on you, Sugar Bert,
Mm-hmm.
and Paul Murphy Jim.
Yep.
But talk a little bit about this documentary because the tie-in with health came right into Evan.
Yeah. Well, with Evan, been training Evan since probably over 10 years now, and he came in the gym and mom brought him and talked about him wanting to continue his boxing career. He had already started. His dad had already started him to boxing. He said he liked it and he loved it and wanted to do it. She found out about the program that we had, which was traveling around the country doing shows, and how our gym, was creating some great fighters and some amateur prospects that were out. And so she said, "Hey, I want to get my son in your program." And I said, "Okay." We talked for a while, and I said, "Okay, let's try him out." So I tried him out, and fast forward, through his amateur boxing career, and he went really well. Did won the Golden Gloves, won a lot of tournaments, second place or third place in the nationals, and he really was doing really well in boxing. Decided to turn pro and went pro after some years of amateur boxing, and as I was training him as a pro fighter, there was certain things I'd watch. You pay attention to your athletes, and so he was kind of when I push him really hard, his body would he'd throw up, do things that have hard time getting his wind back. And so I took it and said, "Hey, we just need to train and make sure you're eating, hours before you train, a couple hours before you train. Make sure what are you eating, kind of." Took that path. What kind of liquids are you putting in your body? Are you drinking water? Are you drinking coconut water? Are you doing Pedialytes? Are you just doing juices and sodas? What's going on with you? So had to dig more into his health, into what his nutrition was. So finding out, no, he wasn't eating anything that was really crazy. He was doing what most young guys do. Every now and then he'd have fast foods and things like that, but nothing really crazy stood out. So, I said, oh man, so every time though, I would push him and get him ready for a fight. As we start getting closer to the fight, leveling up and getting his training going, doing more miles or sprints or things of that nature, his body would start acting really weird, whether it was throwing up, whether he was really not being able to catch his breath, what I call recovery. And so with boxing, it's like getting on a racetrack and driving real fast and then slowing down and then driving real fast and then slowing down, driving real fast. So it's a lot of sprints that take place, and your body needs to be able to do that. And then also recovery, which is, hey, once I stop, does my body recover fast? Do I rest? Does my heart rate go down? Things of that nature. So just paying attention to what he's doing and what his body's doing. And we had a fight that was scheduled. I think he was probably now 11-0 or 10-0 or something around there. Either 9-0, 10-0. He's somewhere around that time frame. And we had a fight scheduled, and in training camp, we were in Colorado. high level altitude, and he's still, he's got to take his headgear off during sparring because he needs to, kind of breathe and things of that nature, not getting able to recover, still throwing up, things of that nature. He's, still body's still going through all kinds of things. So we wind up taking the fight, fought the fight, didn't look good in the fight. Said, man, I asked him in the corner, I said, hey, you're not catching your second gear. Where's that second wind going to kick in? And so he's like, he's trying and he's doing the best he can. So he won the fight, but it was, again, questioning what's going on in training, what's going on in his body. They're doing tests and they're sending him to the doctors and things of that nature. And, I guess just general doctor things. No real thorough type of exams really taking place. They're kind of, I can't remember if they did an MRI or not, but just kind of, they're just doing general things, checking his blood, checking his things. They're saying, hey, he looks good, looks fine, looks like a normal athlete. And we got ready to fight at the Hard Rock, and this was a big one, big fight. He was going to be at the Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida. And we started training, leveling up, getting him going. We're down in Florida. It's hot. It's in the summertime. It's really hot down there, hot gym. But I wanted him to get down there because I wanted him to, go through camp in Florida. I think, got a lot of sparring, a lot of high level sparring, a lot of running that we can do outside. And so we had to pull out of that fight because body was still doing the same exact thing. Getting ready for another fight. This is the third fight we're getting ready for. These are months at a time, distance. And we were training one day, got finished sparring. He left for that day, came in that next day and said, hey, I need to talk to you in the office. I said, okay. He says, my body, I felt like something was on my chest all night. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was having an anxiety attack, et cetera, et cetera. I said, man, that's bad, bro. I said, we've been kind of looking at this. I said, but we're not taking any chances. We're not going to do this fight. So we canceled the fight. And needless to say, in the middle of that, I got to go back a little bit because in the middle of that, we had a fight. And we turned down 2 fights because of the situation. Third fight, we actually fought. He lost that fight. Took a loss in that fight. And it was just devastating to him. And so here we are now getting ready for this fight, another big fight. And this is the 4th fight. So, and now, we're getting ready to fight it. And he's gone home, can't breathe, thinks it's anxiety. So we're canceling the fight. So we canceled the fight. I said, you need to, he and his mom were there at the gym, at the office. She came in with him. And we both agreed, you need to go to the hospital. Let's go to emergency care. So he went to emergency care. And when he went to emergency care, they said, they tested him, put him on some tests and things of that nature that they and for whatever reason, they tested his heart. And they said, you're having a heart attack right now.
Wow.
The reading is that you're having a heart attack right now. So they checked it, double checked it. No, you're having a heart attack right now. So now they're running around, we got to get you to the hospital. He's like, I drove myself here. They're like, well, no, we need to get you in an ambulance and get you over to the hospital. He's like, I'm not getting in the ambulance. I'm going to drive myself over. So they allowed him to drive himself over to the hospital, checked him in at the hospital. Hospital checked him in and said, no, you're having a heart attack right now. Your reading is that you're having a heart attack. And so they did multiple tests, kept him overnight. We're trying to determine what was going on with his heart. So he'd gone to about 3 or 4 different heart specialists during this time. And they're like, hey, we feel like we need to have surgery. We got to go in here and fix this. Anything could be happening. You're going in and out. And maybe before you were having heart attacks and we just you didn't know you were having heart attacks, but it sounds like what you were going through was mild heart attacks leading up to this heart attack. And so they checked him in, kept him, and he went to multiple different specialists and finally went to this one heart specialist that said, I understand what's going on. It's very rare, but you have where both valves are on the same side. And so when your body ramps up, so you're doing good at 100, say just for example, you're doing good at 100 miles an hour. But when you take your body to 150, it's like a motor. Now it starts shutting down because everything's not flowing like it's supposed to be. You got to hook up a hiccup on this other side where it's not flowing through and just going like it should be. So you're literally, when you get to 150, you could go into massive heart attack.
Wow.
He said, so we've got to fix that. There's no way. He said, well, I'm not going to do it. I don't think. He said, you could walk around forever and not have a heart attack, but you could instantly be one day doing something and have an immediate heart attack right there and drop dead. He said, well, I'm not, he said, can I box with it? He said, no, you can't box with it. You got to fix this. This has got to be fixed. And that's what caused him, that saying he couldn't box anymore is what caused him to say, okay, yeah, let's do it. And the doctor said, you'll be better. You can still potentially box. We don't know. I can't give you 100% guarantee, but when we'll go in there, we'll take a look. We'll do what we need to do to fix what's wrong, and then we'll make sure that we know you want to box. We'll put the proper things in place to try to help you with that.
And this documentary is going to be talking about your life and in how you're helping Evander Holyfield, Evander Holyfield's son, use boxing to recover from heart problems.
Absolutely.
Are you going to be in the documentary, Corey?
More than likely.
Probably have my little piece in there.
Yeah, so you got to be in there.
I do a little filler. Yeah.
Now let's spin forward to the tourism side of things, the economics of boxing.
Hold on, I got to say one more thing.
Okay.
Since that time, he's had surgery. I think it's been maybe 2, 3 years since he's had surgery and come out and been recovering. The great news is that through just hard training, dedication, of course, God being covering him, he's been able to fight. He's had 2 fights since that time. He's working on his 3rd or 4th fight. So he's now 13-1 and still boxing. So I just wanted to kind of share that. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you're really telling the story from his start of his career through the medical problems to recovery and now boxing again and winning.
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you have a big event coming on right here in DeKalb County.
That's correct.
So you're having the Golden Gloves, right?
Golden Gloves. We do it every year. DeKalb County is a great area right outside of the Metro Atlanta downtown area. It's an area very diverse. A lot of good boxers that have come out of Georgia as a whole. But definitely that metropolitan area created Evander Holyfield, some of the great boxers that have walked out of this out of the DeKalb area. And so we do the Golden Gloves there every year. It's a tournament that I've taken over for the last 4 to 5 years, and now we expanded the Golden Gloves to where we bring in international boxers.
So that's what part I think is so amazing. Is how you're bringing it, because I know last year I think you had like 4 or 5 different countries.
Yes, yeah, we're really making the Golden Gloves in Georgia. Bob Russo is the president of the Golden Gloves. He said, "Bert, I wanted you to take over the Golden Gloves. I want you to take it and do your vision with it." And my vision, along with my team, has always been to bring in international boxers into this tournament. Now, the Golden Gloves is a regional ranking tournament. So it goes from state to region, from the regional to the nationals. And so we have the state here in DeKalb, and once that winners, the elite boxers that are 18 years or older that win the tournament, they're able to go on to the regionals. The regionals is basically a tournament made of the best boxers that have won their state for Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina is a part of that. And so those winners in that tournament, that regional tournament's done in Birmingham, go on to represent the southeastern region at the nationals, which are the best of the best.
Now your dates are when this year?
This year we're March 13th through the 15th. And registration's already open. We've got boxers that are registering from Florida and from different other neighboring states. We've got we typically have anywhere from 175 to 250 boxers that register for this event every year, and that's not including the coaches and the parents that travel. with their boxers into this event.
So some changes this year. You're at the Exchange Park again,
Yes.
but you're going from 2 rings to 3 rings this year.
Yes, we're doing a 3 ring event, and it's basically you've got 3 rings going simultaneously during the event to just uh, have an even flow. It allows for the boxers not to have to, because the event can be, depending on how many boxers, with the number of boxers that we normally get, it can go from 12 o'clock doors open, boxing starts at 1 all the way to 8 o'clock at night. So adding a ring, it gives an opportunity for us to kind of finish the boxing a little sooner so that people that are coming from out of town can go out and experience some of the city while they're here over the course of the 3 days.
Why not? We love it because not just the promotional aspect and the PR aspect and all, it has tremendous economic aspect with the number of hotel rooms, the number of families coming in, number of coaches and trainers
Mm-hmm.
coming in, and then all of them going out to eat and doing other things in between the boxing events. And
Yep.
then you have another event in October.
Yes.
But another big piece that I believe your first one in the country
Mm-hmm.
is your app. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to turn that over to Corey.
I knew you, Corey. You were here for a reason.
I'm
I
going to
knew
turn
you
it over
weren't
to
just
Corey.
trying to sit here and look
I
good.
just know I want to look good, support. Yay! Give my rah-rah. But yeah, so the app is definitely one of the breakthroughs we feel like just in the boxing community, which gives the kids, the potential boxers who participate in all the tournaments, an opportunity to go back and see their fights, right? Which is something that is not common, just within the boxing community, giving them that aspect to be able to go back and study their fights, study the film, look at their opponents, um, see some of their mistakes, some things that they can capitalize on, just giving them just a platform where they can really take advantage of learning and kind of fine tuning their skills. So with the app, we're more uh, along the lines of really focusing on that and giving them a platform and a voice to be able to actually tell their story, right? Kind of similar what we're doing here, but we have a we have a thing on the app called a sweet spot. The sweet spot highlights them in terms of giving them the opportunity that prepares them with interviewing, helping them prepare for the next level of interviewing if that's something they choose to do. And that's just something that we feel like gives them the opportunity to kind of shine and kind of get a feel for it, get questions, get thrown off, and really just kind of help them prep themselves. So that's another aspect. And then in terms of like the exposure for the events, like we have people coming from many different places all across the country, across the world. They're actually to tune in and they can watch their fights live, right? If they're supporting somebody, they can watch them live. If they're, just a fan, if it's a grandmother who can't make it or an uncle, they can support their superstar. Is kind of how we look at it.
So I think that's really cool. I
It
think
is.
that's a great thing. And I believe you were the first in the world or first.
Yeah, we
As far
don't
as we
know.
know,
We don't know of we don't know of anyone out here yet that besides Sugar Bert Boxing that has an app where you can actually watch it live. So you can pay per stream, or you can literally um, watch it later or at any time, and it's anywhere. So you
Yeah.
download it, and
Yep.
you know,
Yep. You can
Great.
Well,
pull
I
up
know
your
it's on the
Roku.
Apple platform.
Yep, it's on
So
the Apple. Yep, it's on your Roku's. If you want to watch it at home, so it's really want to make it accessible, just to all the platforms. But right now we're on the Roku and Apple. So as we kind of really get everything settled in and functioning, we feel like we're gonna add all the platforms here really soon. Samsung, Fire Stick, just a lot of platforms for people to be able to see our stuff.
what sets Sugar Bert Boxing apart from all the other gyms or promoters or trainers or coaches?
well, you really Sugar Bert Boxing is it's its own. We're grassroots. We're basically the grassroots of amateur boxing. You have USA Boxing, which is of course everyone's big brother, and we're all trying to help do our part to help build Olympic gold medalists. That's ultimately what USA Boxing um, would like to do. Of course, we're also trying to help boxers that want to become professional boxers, or just want to do it for casual boxing, just for, because they want to train or work out or things of that nature. But ultimately, we're about helping with the grassroots to build gold medalists. And Sugar Bert Boxing is, you have, and this is the great thing about it. You have USA Boxing, you've got Golden Gloves, you've got Sugar Bert Boxing, you have the PAL organizations. Those are the major organizations out here that are doing amateur boxing in the United States. You have a lot of other, small shows that happen, that happen around the country, that maybe in one show that's an annual event in one state. But the difference is that Sugar Bert Boxing does events all around the country. So we do 4 to 5 events, and we strategically align those events in different states so that boxers that can't travel to a big tournament get an opportunity now to travel for a tournament our size. Our tournaments, USA Boxing tournaments, actually, they usually attract anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500 boxers. Our tournaments are built to, it's typically a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday tournament, and we attract anywhere from 500 boxers to 800 boxers. And they're able to, it's not an elimination tournament. It's set up to where when they travel in, if they lose on the first day, they can be rematched or matched again on the second or third day. So it gives them the opportunity to walk away or hopefully walk away with a win rather than walking away from a tournament where they've actually lost. So there's a lot of differences in our structure. We've also got a ranking part that we rank the boxers and help them with their rankings. This is something USA Boxing has now made our events. Most of our events are a tier 1 event, and that means that we help directly feed those boxers with points. They come into our events and they get ranked, and that ranking helps them ultimately at USA Boxing when they get ready to try their Olympic run. So it helps in a lot of different ways. And so, but we structure our events in different cities that allow boxers to travel rather than traveling to a event in Colorado from Florida. Now they can travel to an event in Georgia, or if we're in California, the Northern California, Southern California can travel in, or Oakland can travel in, or different places. And when we're in Texas, we may be in Houston, Texas, but Dallas can travel, or Galveston can travel, so everyone can travel from different places. And that's what I think attracts a lot of boxers, not only in the US, but just also from outside of the country, that now they've been coming into our events and they love our events and they're having fun at the same time, because we find what we call playcation destinations. Mm-hmm. Cities that, really have great things to do, great food, great, whether they're on the beach or not on the beach, which are some of the other attractions they have. Do they have, theme parks? Like in May, we'll be right down in Kissimmee, Florida, which is Disney. So May the 21st through the 24th, we'll be down there doing one of our tournaments. So we find those playcation destinations that people can bring their families with and have fun.
Remember, I think you started Playcation, a year ago, 2 years ago?
When we started moving from city to city, which is, believe it or not, and you've been with me from the beginning, we've been doing it for 10 years now.
Wow.
We decided over 10 years ago, Corey and I were doing, along with the team, we're doing a state event. We were just doing a 1-day, a 3-day weekend. Hey, come in, and made that an annual event. And we started that in Doraville, and which is still part of DeKalb County, but we started in Doraville and decided that, hey, we got so much feedback from people saying, hey, why don't you do this in our city? Do this in our city. My wife and I sat down and we talked about it and said, hey, be a great idea. Let's start seeing about other cities and start doing these, and take this Sugar Bert Boxing around the country. And so we did. Her and I decided that we were going to make that happen, and with the support of her and my team, it's just been, we've gone from there to now. We've been over 10 years doing it in, we've been to Virginia, we've been to Texas, we've been to both Southern and Northern California, we've been to Florida, multiple places in Florida, places in Georgia, places in I mean, we've been all over Kentucky. We've been everywhere. We've been in all different cities strategically, looking New Jersey. I mean, we've been everywhere doing events now, you know. And so I'm going to probably miss a couple cities. So don't hold me cities to that.
We're looking at
Um,
adding on Puerto Rico.
yeah,
We're
we
Oh, I
gonna
could.
was
add
thinking
that
you
to
were
the
there
list.
before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've talked with, we've had a great conversations with Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands as
Virgin
well,
Islands.
Bahamas as well.
Yeah.
We've talked with doing something in Mexico. So some of these places like Mexico would be outside of course, the United States. We're looking at now taking it not just within the United States in different Caribbean cities, but now we want to take it international outside. So we're having great conversations with. We've had some good conversations with Mauricio Suleiman, WBC, about taking it into Mexico, different parts of Mexico as well. So yeah, we're looking to really place our flag in other places now that would really help boxing. And with the app and all the things that we bring, that's that's ultimately what we want to do. We want to get a Netflix deal, so we're putting that out there right now. We're looking at Netflix and companies like Netflix to say, hey, come on board. We're already in mode of what we're doing. We've got the blueprint. We've got the structure, and now let's make amateur boxing really shine like all the other sports.
Well, I like that because we would like to get the documentary on Netflix as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know we've got a soccer documentary called Beyond Unstoppable
Yep.
that we are trying to get it on the Delta in-flight.
Yeah.
So
That's
we'll
great.
be working on that when we get your documentary done.
And that old Corey doesn't fly anything. He doesn't like to fly anything but Delta, so I'm sure he'll see. It.
Oh, you'll like
He's
that.
one of those Delta guys.
I am.
I don't, I
I
don't
am.
care.
So Corey, how did you finagle to be the good-looking person on the show when we used to have Mrs. Wells?
Right. Right.
How'd you push her out?
No, she's not pushed out. She's just behind the scenes. That's all. She's not going anywhere.
I always like when you got Sugar Bert and me, but Mrs. Wells.
Yeah, so I just kind of eased in there, and so we're getting me a little more exposure, from being behind the scenes is all. Yeah.
Well, we're glad you're on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
So we are so
Appreciate it.
excited. So again, you've got March
Yep.
and October.
Yes.
And how do they find you and how do they get tickets?
Well, you get tickets and find us by going to www.sugarbertboxing.com. Go to our website. Everything's on our website. You click on events, and you'll have multiple events out there. Once you click on that actual event, it'll say, hey, tickets or more information or anything. You can go there. If you're going from a standpoint of even going over to the app side, you just basically, you can go into App Store and download the app there, or you can go to our landing page, which is tv.sugarbertboxing, if you want to go from a Google standpoint to find it. But it's real easy. I mean, the app's real easy to download. The shows are real easy as far as where they're located at. Great cities to come into and see. And ultimately one of the things that we will be doing in the near future and putting it out there now is we'll be doing a lot more. We have a boxing gym here in Atlanta, right in Dekalb County, and it sits at 3685. That's where our office is, 3685 Chestnut in Doraville, 30340. But you also can come get boxing classes there. But on the back side of that facility, we'll be doing boxing events at least once a month.
Really?
So that's going to be the next level of what we'll be doing, and you'll be able to see those on the app. We're setting that facility up right now as we speak so that people, once a month we can do shows and people can see them from anywhere in the world and start building and letting boxers be able to come into a one-day weekend show, 20 bouts, be able to come in and see and also win belts and things of that nature.
Well, that's very cool.
But yeah, this is where we really are focused on. We've got some cities that really want us to come into them as well and talk to them. And ultimately, we want to make a lot of what we consider our events. We want to make a lot of, like, you have the Peach Bowl, you've got Chick-fil-A Bowl, you've got all these different types of events that happen. We want to do the same thing in boxing. So Home Depot needs to come in and be, we'll have a Home Depot championship event. We'll have a Chick-fil-A championship event in certain cities. Frito-Lay, I know they're based out of California. They could be Frito-Lay over in California, Hershey, So we're looking at doing the same thing in boxing, And so I've always said, hey, the people that are out there, the Jake Pauls or the Eddie Hearns, which is dealing with the zone, and the Netflix of the world, people like that, we really want them to know, reach out to us, and let's make amateur boxing big.
Big again. Yeah.
Well, I love that. It's a perfect ending. So, Bert, Corey, pleasure as always.
Yeah,
pleasure.
Want to make sure everybody goes out in March to see Sugar Bert Boxing at Exchange Park. You can get your tickets at sugarbert.com.
That's correct.
You can get the app from Apple and other programs, I'd guess, other programs at Sugar Bert. We just downloaded it yesterday.
Did you?
Yes.
Well, I downloaded it before, but then we re-downloaded it yesterday.
Okay.
Sugar Bert.
Yes.
So it's Sugar Bert, not tv.sugarbert. You go to tv.sugarbert.com for the web version.
That's correct. Yep.
So be sure to check that out. Be sure to come to the matches in March and have your own playcation.
That's right.
Right here in Dekalb, and see international boxers as well as boxers from around the South.
That's right.
Make sure you say hello to Sugar Bert and get Corey's picture. Of course, he's here. Gotta have him.
Thank you. Yes,
Thank you
sir.
for having us.
Sure.
Thank you for having us.
having
We
us.
always look
It's been a
forward
pleasure.
to jumping and talking about all the things that we have going on and Dekalb has going on.
Well, please like and share our posts and tune in for the next Dekalb Talks Tourism. Thank you.